Hi, this is a video that's going to be a little bit different than the other ones that you have seen on this channel because we need to talk about what is happening with men right now. I'm going to give you some background and just say it's very funny because when I started working in sex education and in sex coaching, my initial goal was to work with women. Like, I specifically did extra training on women's arousal anatomy because I was positive that those would be the people that I'd be working with. And yet, here we are. And I have a lot of conversations about men and about masculinity. And as time has gone on, I have become a little bit fascinated and obsessed with masculinity because, oh, it's like a whole different world. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously. If you are a person who's watched Chewed Gum before, or if you watched the clips from Chewed Gum on this channel, you know that many of the callers that we receive on that show are men. The majority of them are men. And so I've had a lot of talking with men who are calling because they disagree with me. I've also had conversations with men who are calling because they just want extra support that they're having a really hard time finding elsewhere. And many times in my client relationships and even on Chewed Gum, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever, many of the people who reach out to me will say, I'm so glad you exist because if you were not here, I literally don't know who I would ask these questions to. So I'm happy to be here and provide that to people. It also gave me a huge learning opportunity as to what the hell is going on. Like, actually, what the hell is going on? I am very far from having real answers, but I have some thoughts and I want to share them. And this is meant to be like a discussion. I am not a man. I don't experience masculinity within myself. And so I am actually really, really hoping that this is a community of people that can help. Like, help me understand, help me help you and others, because it's just a really, really challenging time. I have been reprimanded, and that's a very purposeful word. I have been reprimanded by viewers for being too apologetic to men. I've been called a whore, a hoe. I've had my intelligence and training questioned, which I'm fine with people being skeptical. Like, I think you should be, especially from people who call themselves coaches, because coaching is not legally regulated by the United States. So look for other certifications, etc. Moving on. I've also been on the receiving end of criticism like, how could you say that you are a coach? You're such a scam artist because all you do is shit on men. And I've had people on the manosphere side even create content about this, about how I am allegedly a misandrist. And, so basically, I'm getting it from all sides. And so that's what really made me want to get kind of clear on where I stand. And I don't feel 100% clear, but I'll tell you like where I'm at with it. Okay. So like I said, I had started working in this space thinking that I was going to work really closely with women, and that has shifted partially because of the line, but also because I really see deep need, and part of it is, we're dealing with this male loneliness epidemic. And the reason I'm putting it in quotes is not because I don't think that male loneliness is a humongous problem. It's just that in the survey that demonstrated how men are experiencing loneliness, we also see that women are also experiencing loneliness at like very alarming rates as well. I also have seen people talk about how the rate of unaliving for men is significantly higher than it is for women. And when we actually look at the research, we can see that women attempt just as much or more than men do, but they use less violent methods, so they're less often successful. But the rate of depression and anxiety is also really high in women. So now we have this situation where both genders are experiencing loneliness, they're experiencing depression. We are in a highly emotional time. Anger is also an emotion. So if you are going to be a person who's going to come into my comments and tell me that I'm a whore and a bitch and whatever, you are also being very emotional. We are in a highly emotional time. People are being set off every second of the day by what's happening in the news, what's happening on the internet. It's like, We are a hair away from being triggered at any moment in time. And I know that word, like, I hate that word now, but it's like, really, that's what's happening. Our nervous systems literally like pulled tightly like a string, and like anything will just break up. So if both genders are experiencing loneliness, why is one an epidemic and the other is not even on the table for discussion? And if you do discuss it, you're a misandrist. I'll leave you to answer that question. But I will say that the big problem, the reason why male loneliness kind of does need a little more support, in my opinion, is because when women are lonely, they are going to probably join a book club, reach out to their family and friends. Also, women are taught how to work through their emotions more often. We're told it's acceptable to cry, and we are given license and permission to feel in a way that men don't really experience, etc. When men are lonely, they are shooting up schools, they are joining white supremacist movements, they are joining the manosphere. And I kind of don't blame them, because you have one side of the conversation that is telling you that you being lonely is not my problem. Go and educate yourself. It's not my job to do it. Find friends on your own. I don't want to be that friend for you. And I don't want to put in any more emotional labor. I'm done. I've actually at my limit. Figure it out. And if you're going to be disrespectful to me, why do I have to continue to bend a knee and lend a hand to you and, extend further into human decency than you're willing to show me? Right? And I understand that conversation as a victim of sexual assault, as a person who has a complicated relationship with the men in my family, even. Like, I understand, completely, completely understand. And also as a person who is constantly getting verbally abused every single day on the internet by men. I get it. Trust me. But on the other side of the fence, you have a community of people who are saying, it is not your responsibility to fix what's going on. You are a man. And so it is everyone else's responsibility to retrofit what your needs are. Women around you are dumber than you, weaker than you, they are smaller than you. Your job is to remind them that they are those things so that they stay in line. And if you do that, you are a man of high value. And if you are a person who expresses feelings, expresses emotions, you are not a man of value. What you need to be focusing on is getting your money up, getting your body right, and that will fix everything about you. That's a really, really enticing message for people, especially when they're young. To be told that you are superior just because of the person that you are, because of the body that you were born into, when you are young and you are navigating this whole situation and you feel really lost and you feel lonely and you feel targeted and you feel activated and everyone's wanting to hold you responsible and you're like, I just got here. Like, what the fuck? So I understand. And so we've created a really, really challenging system. And it's like, I need that secret third option, that is like not being presented right now, which is you all are in a really tough spot. We've told you in 800 different angry ways how to not be masculine, but we have not really created good examples of what positive masculinity could look like. I've been doing some reading about masculinity, and like I said, like, I'm kind of obsessed with it because obviously it's not something that I experience like personally, and I really think if we could wave a magic wand and smooth over the way that men are experiencing masculinity and their gender and all of that, I think we would fix like 80% of our problems. Like, I really do. Globally. Like, I firmly believe that. And that's not to say that masculinity is responsible for all of the issues that we have, because by turning our backs on our fellow human beings and telling them to figure it out by themselves, like, fuck them, fuck you, whatever, we are contributing to that. We get to be responsible for that, unfortunately. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We get to be responsible for that. So, in my collecting of information, one of the things that I read, it's from this really wonderful book called For the Love of Men by Liz Plank. It's awesome. There's a lot of information in it, and I highly recommend if you're interested in getting a feel for like where men and masculinity are. It was written in 2019, so things have gotten worse since then, but the information is still really interesting. One of the things that I learned is that men with positive mentors in their lives are less likely to commit crimes and be incarcerated, even more so than men who are raised in financially advantageous environments. A bigger determining factor of what their life is going to project out to be is if they had positive mentorship, if they had a peer in their life, whether it's a parent or a sibling or a teacher or whatever. That influence is so critical. And when I look at like the landscape of what we have going on right now, I can think of a handful of men that I think are wonderful examples of masculinity, like truly chef's kiss. I want everyone to sort of like use them as a template. There's some personal preference in there. They're not going to be for everyone, but we don't have enough positive examples of what masculinity looks like. We've dismantled the structure of it. We've told you everything that's wrong about it and not given an example of what is right. What could it look like? This is a problem that we all have to take some responsibility in. I know that's not what people want to hear, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of really shitty comments about this. I don't really care. It's the truth. I'm a humanist through and through. My entire mission on this earth is to contribute as much positive, good things, be as harmless to the world as possible. And when we leave any human being to be disregarded, we are not better off as a group. Obviously. Because look at the situation that we're in. Look around you. This system is not working. Point blank, period. It's not working. Saying, fuck the men, figure it out, is not working. It is making the world more dangerous. In the past decade, we have seen the KKK walk the streets in the United States. We have Donald Trump as a goddamn president. 2 fucking terms. Like we have a situation on our hands, and we cannot look at all of it and then say, you guys need to figure it out. Like we figured it out. It's just not working. So again, I can tell you that there is, this mentorship is going to be a really big key in what the landscape of all of this is going to look like. Another part of it too is getting men in the door of these conversations is really, really tough. The men who need to hear it the most are going to be the most challenging to bring into this conversation. A sex therapist who I just heard lecture a couple weeks ago was saying that when he has clients who he thinks would benefit from crying it out, like that's what they need, that's the release that will really serve them in that moment, the way that he has to word that is to recommend that they complete the stress cycle. Which is actually a really important thing that human beings should do regardless of gender. It's really important to complete all of your stress cycles so that they aren't sort of living in your body. And what that means could be, crying, running, taking some deep breaths, journaling, whatever. But in his client relationships, he cannot say, I think you just need to cry it out, because that release is not acceptable for men like this. And that's heartbreaking. So he has to change the language completely and say this other thing. Again, I know people are not going to like this, but it is really important to validate the feelings of everyone around you, including men, including when it's anger, including when it's frustration. Many times when I'm having conversations with people on the line, for instance, Andrew from New Jersey, we get further in our conversations when I say, I understand why you feel that way. I understand why it feels really good to listen to someone like Andrew Tate tell you that this is not your fault. This is not your responsibility. You are a man. You are superior. Of course, that feels better to you. And it's not going to give you the result that you're looking for. That is a much different message than saying, like, well, you listen to that fuck ass podcast and he sucks and you suck and you're an idiot and you're disrespectful and whatever. I understand the value in holding people accountable, but this is also like, if we are looking towards progress, you can hold people accountable while also softening the approach so that you actually make progress. Like, that's the goal. It's to make progress. Human beings are really good at adapting to our environment. When we've had something really stressful or traumatic or dangerous happen to us, our instinct is, okay, well, I don't want that to happen again. And so I'm going to adapt. So then they're creating a new system in their brain. And it's like, okay, well, I know that when I put myself out there, when I'm vulnerable, I get hurt. And when I'm angry and walled off, I'm less likely to get hurt. And it's important to remind this community that all they did was allow their body to do the thing that would help them survive. You were attempting to gain control, so you did not feel hurt, so you did not feel helpless. You are normal. These situations are not normal. Being told that you are not allowed to cry as a human being is not normal. Being told that you need to man up is not normal. You, as a human being, are normal. You are adapting to a situation that was given to you. And now we're at a place where we have to all be dealing with the repercussions of that because we are all at danger of what this has created for all of us. So, yeah. And even if this is something that these boys were not seeking out, it is finding them. It is finding them. There was a survey that was done recently, and they found that 75% of adolescent boys were exposed to digital masculinity content. It's about making money, building muscle, being masculine, arming up, and violence. Like, this is the content that 75% of adolescent men have found themselves viewing in their time on the internet. And 68% of them did not look for it. They're not looking for it, and it's finding them, and it's giving them the answers they want to hear. I think that masculinity has traumatized the men in this country. And then those men go on to traumatize everyone around us because they are deprived of the tools, they are deprived of the information that would actually help them regulate their emotions and experience closeness with other people and have the world and all of its options open and available for them. So when I'm having these conversations with people who are coming to the table with information that's not right, and they're obviously coming over to us from this manosphere part of the internet, and they're willing to have the conversation with me, I will have the conversation with them. It's important to have a little sit down and say, let's contextualize the information you're bringing to the table. Let's talk about what the source is for the information that you are being delivered. Is it a community of people that profits off of you being angry, off of you continuing to be lonely so they can keep giving you shitty dating advice, versus a person like myself and in fields like mine whose entire mission is to have people live shame-free, happy, joyful lives where everything is available to them if they choose to take advantage of all of the wonderful things in this life. Consider the source, put it in context. Anyway, I've gone on for a really long time. I've been yapping for a minute. And so I think I'm gonna leave this conversation here because I'm really interested in what you all have to say. I'm happy to have discussions happen in the comments, but please be mindful that I'm a human being, that I'm learning, that I understand that this is nuanced, and I also understand that, like, this is not my personal experience. And so I'm trying to learn. And I also would love any suggestions, like, what do we do? What do we do? What is our call to action here? I don't really know. Beyond continuing to do things like chewed gum and having those important conversations and trying to make content that helps sort of like push the envelope of the conversations that we're having and allow for nuance and questions in the comment sections if people are not immediately calling me a whore, you know? So, anyway, I hope that this was interesting. I really appreciate you listening to me and, for watching any of the content that I create. Time is the most precious resource that we have. So if you are spending any of your time interacting with me and the content that I create, I really am so grateful. And I'm really nervous to post this, but I'm really excited to hear what you all think. So I will catch you in the next one, which will probably be another chewed gum call. If you happen to be watching this and you're interested in calling in and talking about your opinions there, I would love, love, love that. We do chewed gum every single Tuesday night. at 7 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/Q&A line. You can also just check other videos. I'll probably put in the description as well. You can call in anonymously. I really want this to be a conversation that we start having. So anyway, I really appreciate you all being here. Check out the other videos on this channel. Check out the videos on the line. And the line also does have a podcast if you're interested in spending more time with us. And that's it. I love you guys. I really appreciate you being here. Truly, truly. I will talk to you in the next one.